I waited a long time for that, Jen.
Okay.
Oh.
And we are live. And tonight we've got Caitlyn. We've got Clash of
I waited a
Kings.
long time for that, Jen.
Oh, shit. That was my bad. Okay. So we've got Clash of Kings. It's Caitlyn I, Chapter 7. And before we delve into that, we're going to go just down the line and talk about how episode 3, like what we thought or whatever. So I guess, you know what, Reed, why don't you go first? Just tell us like what you liked, what you didn't like. Was that unexpected for you? Where do you think it's going from here? Favorite moments, etc. Bree?
Let someone else go first because I didn't hear you. You broke up a little bit, babe.
Oh, okay.
I'll go first.
Okay, Bram, why don't you go first? Thanks.
So, assuming that everyone has seen the episode and we don't have to say spoiler alerts or anything, I really liked Arya killing the Night King, but I didn't like the Night King dying so easily. Is everyone okay?
I agree with that statement. I think
Yeah,
that's
okay. Just
Too.
I
That
agree.
was too easy. It was too easy. It left holes.
It was bad storytelling, very bad storytelling. Because they even admit, like, they just picked Arya because she was the least expected. Like, so.
I don't believe that.
Well, we'll see what happens. I always had the theory that. Well, I don't want to go next. Who's going after me? Because I want to say something after we've all. Okay, I'm just going to say it now. We need to wish Jennifer a happy birthday.
happy
Happy birthday,
Jen.
Jennifer. We love
Should we
Thank
sing
you.
to
I
her?
Jennifer's birthday was on Tuesday.
Yes.
It was. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to sing or no?
I'm tone
I
deaf.
don't
I will
sing.
sing along if we want to sing.
I don't sing, but I will say happy birthday.
All right, well, we'll just say happy
you.
birthday.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
And we love you.
Thank you. It was very low key, but we had a nice time.
Okay.
I would have sang with you, Kerri, just because I don't care. I'll make a full.
Y'all can sing, but I'm just not gonna sing.
I'm
mean, I'll
really
sing
bad
along,
at singing
but I
I
too.
love you, Jen. I love you, Jen.
I'm not trying to. I was just.
You.
But it was a really, really dark episode, and I was expecting more people to die. I cried
Me.
when little Liana died, honestly.
Really? That's the one that got you was Liana?
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
Theon got me. Theon, I lost my shit with Theon. And then with Jorah, whenever I was already like, oh, Jorah there. And then when Drogon wrapped around him, then I was just completely a mess then.
Why was Ghost with Jorah?
With
I don't
Jorah,
know.
what?
Why
At the
was
beginning.
Ghost with Jorah? Yeah, I'm like, what?
I wasn't doing
Oh,
Arya
Yeah.
or
So that he could
Sansa.
come back. That's why. So that he could run back to die. I don't know.
The Dothraki running with their fiery arcs and those going out, that was so scary.
That was beautiful. Okay,
Yeah.
now I have two things to say. Number one, Ghost should have been as big as a horse in season 2, like Graylin was. And 2, did y'all notice that when the Dothraki hit, whenever they engaged, they kind of looked like the Aaron sigil, like the falcon, their fires did, and just when they were screaming, it was just a really cool visual.
It was, definitely.
Yeah, but it did. It looked like the falcon soaring in.
The
Sansa-
dragons tearing each other apart was way too much for me.
Oh man, I think that when they went silent was probably the scariest moment for me during the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and then they come so fast. The whites do. They come.
You
so
guys, it made
fast.
me super, super nervous. And
yeah.
when I get nervous, I scratch my hand.
Yeah, you see me right here.
I
Oh,
do.
wow,
Like,
yeah.
I scratch either right here, and when I'm uncomfortable, you'll see me be like,
Yeah. Well,
fidgeting.
after when Arya killed
so-
the Night King, I was like, "Yeah,
And I get
Arya,
hives.
go, Arya, go!" And then I started thinking, "Why is the Night King dead? Like, what?
Because the cycle
what's
has
going
to, so
on?"
a new cycle can begin. Just like the
we were
astro.
talking about that
Speaking
earlier,
of, I
but
have one.
the show hasn't made that point about the Night King. All we've heard is about is Azor Ahai in the show,
Hey,
and
Nancy.
Well, just think
Hey,
about it
Nancy.
after like turning. It has to turn before you can see the next part. So he had to die and she had to die before there can be another one, right? You can't create one before the last one is gone.
Hey Nancy, just real quick, we were just talking about the episode and how we felt, but we promise we're not going to get hung up on this. But in honor of badass Arya Stark, actually, this is truly the first Game of Thrones T-shirt I ever got. My brother bought it for me, and it is a fan-made T-shirt. I'm not sure who did it. Like I said, my brother had ordered
I love that.
and bought it for me. So if you know who designed this T-shirt, I think he bought it. I don't know where he bought it, but he bought two. And this was way back in season 1. He bought one for me and one for him. I was bigger a while ago. And my brother's the big guy. I'm not trying to body shame him, Jesus. Yeah, he was disappointed because sometimes it's hard for him to order things that fit. And he was disappointed because the T-shirt wasn't going to work out for him. So he just gave me both of them. I usually have 2 T-shirts.
I really like that shirt.
It was my first Game of Thrones shirt ever. And I really like the fact that it's fan made or whatever. And I wish I did know who made it. Maybe he got it off Redbubble. Does that sound right? Do they have fan made stuff?
That does.
That's
yeah,
where I
that's a
get
really good site, actually.
Vanessa Cole's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. If you know who did this shirt, I would love to give them a shout out and put their link in the description. But I have no idea. I have no idea because I didn't order it. So, but I love it, and it's also held up really well because I have shirts that have holes in them that I got maybe at Kohl's or whatever. Okay, back to what we felt about the episode. Let me say real quick. I was okay with it, but what I caught myself being more interested in than the major players was the minor players. Like when we had went on before the episode and said Melisandre really needed to come with some sorcery. She did not disappoint me.
Yep, she came through.
Lyanna Mormont did not disappoint, even though she died. I did not expect both Mormonts to die, but that, but I was okay with the episode. I mean, it asked me where it's going now. I don't know. My guess is as good as anybody's, as good as. But
I do think the Golden Company's going to turn on Cersei.
I think so too. I definitely think that. We've been told too many times in too many ways.
And I want to know,
swords cannot be trusted.
The North's going to need forces. So I mean, we've got the Tullys. Where have they been? I think if Rob does anything, he's going to go after damn the Glovers. It just brought me back to thinking about what Rob said to the great John Umber when he's like, "I'll come back and root you out of your keep," and
root and stem.
Root and stem. And now they're saying that about Cersei, obviously, but R.I.P. Little Bear. I never liked the Little Bear that
You know what? I liked it better when I thought at the very beginning when the giant swatted her, when I thought that killed her. I like that better than her stabbing.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say something really quick about the whole battle
bad
thing.
Story writing in there.
The strategy sucked. It really did. I didn't like the strategy at all. I think they should have went about the whole battle differently. I mean, you got this whole fortress and you're trying to, and this badass army. I mean, why use the Dothraki like that? I mean,
and why not send the balls of fire like sooner so you could see where they were going?
That's, I would have used it in Sully before I would have used the Dothraki there. I don't know. I just don't like the way that they planned it. They have better commanders there than they were giving them credit for. and great minds that were there at that table planning that whole battle, and it really sucked. And I'm just not okay with it. I'm just not okay with it. And now there's no Dothraki left, and I'm not okay with it. So
I have a
Leah,
theory.
what do
and
you make of that little interaction with Tyrion and Sansa?
and there should have been a lot more
Um,
people dead too.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
I thought
So
that was good.
I think that in the crypts, like basically it was just to reiterate they're still on two different sides, like, and that there are two sides in this battle, like that we're not there was the living and the dead. Afterwards, we're still like there's three sides actually. There's Daenerys and her people. There's Cersei, and then there's the North and the Starks, and they're not. Daenerys and the Starks are not on the same page. And that's what that conversation between Tyrion was meant to remind us of. They can come together and fight for a little bit. And I think they've been kind of doing this thing with these Sansa and men. Like last week it was Theon, now it's talking to Tyrion. So I think they're building to something else entirely. And also, I think the next couple episodes there's going to be a big division between...
Sansa certainly inspires loyalty.
Right, exactly.
I think they're trying to show that.
I asked this question, I think online, is that is she kind of trying to win Tyrion to her side? But like she highlighted that we're still on opposite sides. But maybe she's
like a Littlefinger now. She might be able to.
Like she's trying to see where people stand in the whole, thing. So that was interesting, and I think it's all going to play out. But when they release the pictures for the next episode, the stills, if anyone's seen them, there's like like Team Daenerys with Tyrion next to Daenerys, and then there's a still of like Team Stark, like two different pictures. So
I certainly did like that she finally said to him, you were the best of all. And I think she is talking about, even though her and Joffrey weren't technically married, she was engaged to him for a minute, and she was certainly under his thumb for a while. So when she said you were the best of them, I think it's talking about all three people in her life. And I think that he was surprised, but also pleased to hear that. And I was glad to hear her finally admit that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's such a show. I don't know. I just don't. The show has made Tyrion's character very
very nice.
Yeah, much
likable. And he's not like that at all.
The show has sugar-coated everything, though.
Yeah. So I feel like sometimes when she says stuff like that, I'm like, okay, and that's why sometimes you get into these debates with people about things, and it's not that I'm it's not bad that she did that. It's just kind of like the way fans take it later on drives me crazy. But whatever, because they kind of then they see that as like a justification that she should be with him just because he was nice to her. And that's not necessarily the case.
Okay, Liz, I want you to go back and even as far back as season 7, I'd say to when Tyrion's talking to when Jon comes to Dragonstone. Let's go back there. Queen's Justice. Go back to that episode. Start watching there and watch Tyrion. Tyrion started, the reason he's acting funny is because he started campaigning for Jon. I'm telling you, watch him.
So you think he's gonna switch to Team Stark?
No.
I don't
necessarily. I think he's going to work for them to be together, if anything. But I think he believes in Jon. I think that he believes in Jon. I think that he's going, oh shit, he's the one. And I think that if anything, he wants them together because I think he'll think that that Jon will be what balances Dany.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's not.
It does.
I don't think anybody's gonna. I mean, a lot of people think that, but I think Jon even thinks that, but I think that's now that Jorah's gone. I think people have been saying online, with the death of Jorah, that's gonna really fuck Daenerys up. Jorah was her moral compass.
I got a question for you about Jorah. Do you think that he was Hodor and Jorah?
What?
You mean Tyrion?
No. Do you think that
Bran.
Daenerys
Oh.
was Hodoran Jorah?
No.
I don't think she's that. Well, I mean, I don't think she has that much ability. Like you think she has warging abilities, or
She does. She goes into the dragons. What do you think all that is? It's
I think
telepathic.
it's just the dragons, though. I don't think it's anything else. I think she
Yeah,
just has.
I think she touches them. I don't think she goes full on like Bran does, obviously, but I think that's what her hold is on him.
Reed, can you just ask that question one more time?
Do you think that she Hodor's Jorah?
Who?
Like she gets in bed and mind fucks somebody.
Daenerys
Jon.
does that to Jorah?
Yes. Like she has some kind of influence over him. Like she's getting in his head.
No.
Yeah, she's got this
No, I
kind
don't
of
think so.
influence over him.
Not over that head.
Absolutely. She's not warging him.
She's just using that whip. She's using that whip,
Guys,
man.
with that,
power between her legs. That
with
weapon.
that, let's move on to the chapter. Let's move on to the chapter.
That sounds right.
Okay, and I'm going to catch the overview real quick. Caitlin Stark watches. It's Caitlin 1, chapter 7, Clash of Kings. Caitlin watches as her son, King Robb Stark, presents his peace terms to his envoy, Sir Cleos Frey. Afterward, Caitlin argues with Robb over his refusal to exchange Jaime Lannister for his sisters. He said he would have did it for Ned, his father, but not for his sisters, and that kind of causes a little bit of ice water between those two. And his plan to send Theon Greyjoy back to the Iron Islands, Caitlin takes issue with that. Later on, we get the Blackfish and Caitlin visiting Hoster Tully, and we see how sick Caitlin's father is. And then we see Caitlin decide to go try to make an alliance with Renly Baratheon.
Yep.
Just saying.
That was a really fast overview.
It is. I want to get
Holy
straight to
shit.
talking about it. Wait. Okay, so
I want to talk about first Theon and the Iron Islands.
all right.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Rob should have known. I feel like it's the most obvious thing. Everyone around him's telling him, don't send Theon, obviously.
I think everyone was, just Caitlin. Maybe
And not only did he send Theon, Theon.
it was dumb, yeah. But I
Okay.
think
Like,
Caitlin,
more important people
this
with him.
whole chapter,
Theon.
this whole chapter.
Not only did he send Theon, but he sent Theon with the Mallisters, who have a very big grudge with Balon Greyjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone would be kind of maybe questionable as to who killed, other than Euron or Faceless Man, I mean, I know there's theories out there. I'd say probably look to the Mallisters.
Yep.
So it's just that where Catelyn's talking about, a wiser man would know. I'm talking about an older man would know. Talking about with Jaime, well, a wiser man would have known not to send Theon to the Iron Islands, especially with no damn Mallisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I feel
this
like
whole chapter to me shows just that he don't know what the hell he's doing.
well, he's
Well,
a kid.
Well, he
I feel
says
like Rob is a
Catelyn,
kid,
Right.
and
you know,
Well,
he
you
is.
go, Fran, and then Leah's
he
you
doesn't
got.
want to listen to his mother. Like he doesn't want to. He's like 15 and doesn't want to listen to his mother, and he really should listen to her because she's making good points all along.
Yes,
but
she is, and she knows these people.
No, I thought I'm gonna have to disagree with the whole time, but yeah, I understand where she's coming from. He's trying to like be buddies with Theon, like they have been the whole time Theon's been there. You know, they've done a lot of stuff together, so he feels like he can trust him as a friend, as a brother, as a whatever. But he should have listened to Catelyn or whoever else, as you know, as far as Balon Greyjoy is going to do whatever he needs to do to get his crown, and whether that's having Theon, it doesn't matter who comes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Having Theon show up was not the best. If he'd known anything about Balon Greyjoy, it was the worst person to send out of anybody.
It just kind of shows you, how cocky like young
Well,
teenage
really anything about
kids
Balon.
too. They just won their first couple battles and they're feeling kind of full of themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go do this now, and I can do this now. So I'm feeling, and like even how
it's like
they're smiling, like he has this big great secret. Catelyn was talking about that at the very beginning. Well, that was kind of his big secret was, hey, I'm going to go back to the Iron Islands, and
yeah.
Oh yeah, the sly smile.
that
He's
smile.
always
Yeah.
smiling like he, knows a joke that no one else knows.
right. Well,
He always looks like that with a silly little smirk on his face. That's one of the things John notes that gets on his nerves most about Theon.
His horse is named Smiler.
I think is interesting is that both John and Catelyn don't really like Theon.
Yeah.
That is like.
Well, you can trust Theon about as far as you can throw him.
Yeah.
Right.
R.I.P. Theon. You died a good death.
I know.
I don't agree with Bran that he was a good man, but he redeemed himself somewhat.
I did enjoy. That's what I didn't say this when I made my little thing about the episode, but one of the things I did enjoy was watching some of the minor players in last week's episode, and I really enjoyed watching specifically Mel and Theon basically do what they were meant to do, and that was one of the most enjoyable parts of the episode.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
And just real quick, I want to just shout out, we've got the Imagination Realm. Y'all, she has a great group on Facebook, and she blogs a lot. And that is Carlisa. We want to say hello to her. We want to say hello to Nancy and Peter Griffin and the West Coast Ninja Milk. Hello, welcome. Thanks for popping by. I know there's buku chats tonight. Hey, Icy Spots. Hello. I know there's buku chats tonight, and that's cool. There always is during the season. And
Yep. I'm so behind.
I don't even put the link up in advance anymore, unless I say otherwise the week before. We're going on Thursday at 8 o'clock, just like we always do. Oh,
Central, 8 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Central. It's 9 o'clock.
Central. Hey, that's limited edition. You can't get one of those.
All right.
Oh my God. I liked in this chapter how it starts out talking about the crown and how Catelyn is so tied to the crown and Rob's crown.
I know.
She ends up getting Rob's crown. So I really liked that tie-in. Like I didn't know before. I thought it was a good.
Rhea and I were talking about the runes on it and what they possibly could mean, and she said she tried to do a little research into it, but I don't know what she ever found out.
I couldn't find them. There's no answer to it. Actually, I looked, even read it and everywhere, and there's no one has an answer to it. So
I wonder why the Kings went. I wonder why they used the.
Well,
runes.
that's what I was going to say. What me and you were talking about. This is our best guess, but it makes sense that it would be about because of it being bronze and iron. It would make sense because of what the metals are. The metals would most make sense for it to represent ice and fire. So it would be make sense for the runes to be something like the North remembering or about the pact of ice and fire, something to that effect.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, if I remember correctly, in Norse mythology, the runes were given to us by Odin, and I think he hung himself from the world tree to get them.
Oh.
Okay. Wow.
The language. Okay. Interesting.
The runes were like the first, well, not the first, but it was the written language.
The written language of the first men is what is on it, but do they even know what the runes mean anymore?
That's what I'm. Yeah, they did it by copying it from written down. Whatever.
Here's a picture.
If you translate Royce's shield, it says we remember.
Cool.
So I have actually translated that one.
That's cool. I want to say hey real quick to Amanda Duncan and Sadie, and I think I already said Icy Spots, but again, I want to say Icy Spots.
That's a good
Glad to have you
username.
here. They've been in the community a long time. Like sometimes
Really?
people they're thinking that's a new person. No, this is a person for a very, very long time. All right.
I want to talk. She's talking about Rob and adjusting his crown and all of that, and then she talks about how tough it must be to wear a crown, especially for a 15-year-old. And then they bring in Cleos Frey, and Rob has his 4 things he wants done. His peace terms for Cersei, I guess, would be. Isn't that what he said? Yeah, his peace terms. And Cleos is going to bring him to Cersei, and then he's coming back to captivity. I'd be like, okay, sure, whatever you say.
And that was a vow too. Yeah, remember that.
That's true, and he said he did it in front of a bunch of people. So
he just vowed.
The first one, release Sansa and Arya. The betrothal's over with Joffrey. Send the girls to White Harbor. Ned's bones returned, and all his bannermen and household guard. Ice returned directly to Rob's hand, and that the Queen will command Lord Tywin to release. I know there's more, but this is just basic. Command Lord Tywin to release the bannermen he took captive and knights on the Green Fork. And he's going to send with Sir Cleos maps of the Dominion of the North, which will now be a separate kingdom, and they are going to not have to answer to the Iron Throne at all, ever again.
And did you say that Sansa's marriage was void to Joffrey?
Yeah, so I did say it. The betrothal was over, but I was just kind of.
I didn't hear that part.
Hostage, right? They're going to keep Jaime hostage as good behavior.
Ooh, and
they were releasing like 2 hostages a year or something.
Yeah, he wants hostages sent to him, and then if depending on Tywin's behavior, he'll release 2 a year, and they'll be given.
Bold.
And even
he has to go to get anything. Like he's going for everything, and then hoping to get some of it. I think
Yeah. Well, Catelyn says, other terms would have been sweeter, and he's like, any sweeter, and I would have gagged. So,
well, and she says too, a wiser man meeting an older man too. An older man would have said,
she's really, really up in his shit, and it's pissed. It's making me mad. It made me mad. This because he's having a hard enough time when he's doing the peace stuff. Karstark walks out because he doesn't want to have peace on any terms. And then she's like, you afraid to have Jaime fighting against you again? Come on.
She didn't bother me. Sure, I thought she was all right. I thought Rob needed to hear some of the stuff she had to say. Because, he's a kid. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. And, like, it's kind of like how I find it interesting to look at like Catelyn's relationship with Rob and Cersei's relationship with Joffrey.
Right. I was just thinking the same thing because
this chapter.
And I actually went ahead and read the next chapter with Tyrion, where Tyrion is a Tyrion chapter, and he starts talking kind of about, he's dealing with the mess that.
Rob's a good kid, but he still needs to take advice.
Yeah, and like Joffrey, obviously
but she's
can't be
his
controlled.
mom.
Well, no one wants to take advice from them when they're 15. She probably has to figure out better strategies of it. But
I think the Blackfish, knows what he's doing, and if he uses the Blackfish as much as he seems to, then not Edmure for Christ's sake, but I think the Blackfish would do just as good a job as Catelyn.
I want to point out about Edmure's dumbass too, real quick. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let me rip it. Let me get a sip of my drink.
Edmure's
time for some.
All right. All right. Edmure. Just dumb. All right. So he's done cost them how many men when they went to the stone mill chasing after the mountain, right?
That hasn't happened yet, though, right? In the book.
Okay.
No, in the show it was 208 men.
Right. But
I don't know how I remember that.
I'm just saying dumbass. No, it happened whenever Rob first got there or whatever. No, it hasn't happened yet.
I don't think it's
But
happened.
anyway,
It doesn't
yeah. But let's just remember it though, because he's a dumbass. I'm just talking about Edmure's being a dumbass in general. But okay, but at this point right now, okay, he sent all the River Lords home. So he sent the Brackens, the Blackwoods, the Dairies,
Pipers.
the Pipers,
Vance.
Now, okay,
Malisters.
He sent with
Beyond.
Now, let's talk really quick about them because I want to bring them up because a lot of crap happens because of this. Now, the Pipers, Vance, and Dairies end up like all but disappearing, right? They end up pretty much extinct, and we got Gatehouse, Amy, and all that, and they're all like intertwined with all the stuff going on with the freight and all that. And then Brackens and Blackwoods end up kind of in the Civil War that Jamie ends up caught in. So a lot of crap ends up going off in the Riverlands right now because of what happens right now. Right? All because and it's all starting with Cleo Spray and Rob. And it made me think of Rob is playing Lord of the Crossing. And I'm wondering, and I'm like, they didn't say mayhaps in this whole chapter, did they?
No.
But that's all I could think about. I was like, I was waiting for someone to say mayhaps.
That's cute.
Right.
I would have never thought of that.
That's a good.
Right, but that's all I could think about was he's playing Lord of the Crossing right now, but there's so much destruction in the Riverlands that happens, and it's because of Edmure being a dumbass and sending them home, and it cost men for Rob, and it's just the Red Wedding happens. I mean, so much destruction happens in the Riverlands, and you end up with Brotherhood without banners, the Piper, Vance, and all them.
They end up dying or going and getting wounded, or they're like whoever at Raven Tree Hall. That would have been
that's the Blackwoods.
Blackwood. That all they had left.
There.
All they had left was the tree at Raven Tree Hall, and the rest of it, the mountain's just is going in there and destroying everything, and a lot of it's happening around the God's Eye. So.
And Windish Town and.
Well, I think it's kind of like
he's been all through the Riverlands just now to rebuild, and then it's basically gonna.
It's because the Riverlands geographically.
And then, when we get to dance, that's where Jamie's at. Whenever Brienne comes after him.
But the Riverlands geographically in Westeros are this like hotbed of like. So you've got like King's Landing where you have like a Lannister crown, and then you have the Westerlands. And the Riverlands are kind of in between that.
Like the Heartland. It's like the heart of Westeros.
And then they have this river so people can move faster through it, I think. So it just kind of like becomes this hotbed of like tension. And I think a lot of the war of the Five Kings was really about like the Lannisters wanting more territory because the Riverlands and Westerlands share a border, right?
Right.
So I feel like it started like this, like really it's this border dispute.
It's them trying to get lands, control.
Trying to get lands and control. And, so then that's sort of like the underlying.
That's why I brought up Gatehouse Amy.
Real quick, Liz, did you put a color on your hair?
Yes.
It looks good. I know. I know. Boom.
You really can't see. I mean, it's really bright.
It's like almost like a rinse instead of a color, but it's a little bit.
It's a magenta.
Just brown.
It's magenta.
It looks nice. I like it.
It's really you can't see it on there, but it's really bright.
I can see it.
I forgot to go ahead, Brian.
While we're talking about the geography of the Riverlands and stuff. And in this episode, or not episode, this chapter, about, a little bit of the history of Harrenhal and its curses and all this other stuff. And we learned that 3,000-year-old weirwood trees were cut down for the beams and the raft.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Harrenhal is so interesting. So were we saying this on... I can't remember if I read this somewhere, if we said this on this one of these calls, one of our panels, but that Harrenhal actually has some like, because the dragons burned it, it's almost like if there were like a nuclear event there.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think we talked about it.
I think we talked about it, yeah. And that's why it's so like people get sick when they live there. They don't live long, or people think it's cursed.
It's like Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, who's gonna watch that miniseries?
I am.
Oh,
I wanna watch it.
Who's
I'm gonna
watch
check that
what?
out.
It's on Netflix, Brian. It's or Hulu. Which one is it, Jen? I think it's Netflix.
Ooh,
It's
I thought
like,
it was gonna be on HBO.
It's HBO. It's HBO, I
it's
think.
HBO.
Commercials.
I'm sure y'all
I'm
got it.
sorry, y'all. I'm the worst tonight about pulling us off topic. I need to be put in timeout.
I forgot to mention. I
Okay.
forgot to mention how Rob, like, the first thing Caitlyn got onto him about, beginning of the chapter, was him using his wolf to scare the shit out of Cleo's Frey, which I thought was pretty good. But that was
Why
just
wouldn't
another
you?
one where she's like, nah, that was Japery.
And then Grey
Yes.
Wind later starts to kind of react to
Mm-hmm.
Catelyn as well. He kind of growls at
Oh,
Catelyn.
yeah. He
What's going
growls
on
at
and
her.
Yeah,
He
because
starts,
upset. Rob wants to growl at her.
yeah, really. Rob wants to send her, Rob's dying to send her packing.
Yeah, he certainly is. And I think we've all had that feeling where we're like, okay, mom, dad, bye.
Right.
Bye.
That's definitely what he's going through. Things that I liked in this chapter that actually reminded me of, like, they kind of related to things later on in the show that got you like ideas. So like Catelyn or no, Rob talks about like the lords can unmake me just as easy as a king, because he's like, they made me king, they can unmake me. And I think like that comes up in season 7 when Sansa's like talking to like Littlefinger, or she's talking about the lords. She's like, oh, they crowned John king and then they want to give it to me, and you know, it's like she's talking, it's like the same kind of thing. And then there was another part that I marked where Caitlyn says, or no, the Blackfish says, never give the enemy his wish. And like he's talking about,
Right,
you know,
where he's talking about Tywin Lannister wants to meet
in
on
the
his
field.
terms on the
At
in the
Harrenhal.
terrain. He wants to meet at Harrenhal. Go
And
ahead.
I feel like that's also advice like Sansa gave to like John, or like, you know, don't play Ramsay's games, like don't give him what he wants, like all that. So I just found those like things interesting that they kind of, I don't know if that's like Tully wisdom that but you know, Rob was the one who said like the fickleness of the Lord, you know, talking about how so I don't know, I like how
that
they
is true. That is true.
that stuff
People are
in.
fickle. I mean, look at the Glovers, and we got that in the episode too, where John quoted where Lord Glover said, you know, we will stand behind you for 1,000 years, just like we all have. So I think, you know, that's been played up a lot, the fickleness of the lords, as well as the treachery of anybody you've paid to be on your side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And just,
I think the key words to that is like we always have.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of words that swap out like that. It's a lot of misdirection going on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, I think the Lord's like it's important, like the politics of the whole thing, right? Even there are like
Very much so, because it's what it is. It's a lot of politicking.
Well, that's like Catelyn thinking, you know, we have all these other people, but the one we really need to be worrying about is Tywin, because he's smart enough to know he can sit at Harrenhal and send out Gregor and Armory Lorch, and I guess that's about it. Oh, the Cohoric, which is Locke, basically, on the show, you know, send them out to do his dirty work. Yes, thank you, to do his dirty work for him, while he's just sitting there, like about the dairy, and you know, they got their land back. Then Gregor shows up the mountain, and he just kills everybody instead of using the dairy kid as ransom. He just has no like political or strategic or any kind of thought in his head about anything.
Well, it's like what happened with Ilya and her children, you know?
Yeah.
Back, like, why the whole Oberon Martell, you know? And I think Oberon Martell, like, he wanted the mountain to admit that it was Tywin that gave the order, or Tywin
Definitely.
that directed him.
For sure.
But, like, I don't know if Tywin ever really gave the order, right? He might have just had to sit back and let it happen and be like, okay, that's what happened. Like,
I doubt he said specifically, go rape her and do this to her, because those guys are going to do it anyway.
yeah, that's what he knows.
He just didn't say, you know,
Specifically.
alive and safe, you know?
Right.
And I don't think he, like with the dairy kid, yes, they could have ransomed the dairy kid, but also if he dies, well, then they have the Lannisters, when they win that castle, they can give it to one of their people. So,
and they do. They give it to what's Lancel.
Yep.
And Gatehouse.
That's what I thought,
Amy.
they gave it to Lancel.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Gatehouse Amy.
Yep. Who's a damn
That's
Frey.
what all the phrases are like. That's what's going on with all the phrases. They're like trying to get up in there. Yeah.
Yep.
They want Dairyland.
Yeah.
Well, God, the Red Wedding doesn't even happen till book 3, right?
Yeah.
So we got a ways to go on that.
I know.
Next month.
We're gonna be
This
like,
was
every
a
time we're
good
like, why didn't they see this
'cause-
coming?
You know, Catelyn, and I know Littlefinger was involved in pushing her in the direction he wanted her to go with Tyrion, but her doing that really got Tywin so pissed off to the point where he's like, we're tearing down everything in her childhood home.
I think it just gave the excuse. It gave him an excuse to do what he wanted to do anyway.
I agree.
Like
I think Littlefinger's definitely the puppeteer of the whole War of the Five Kings.
Do you think Sansa's going to kind of take his place?
As being the next Littlefinger? I mean,
Yes.
no, I think Sansa's thing
sorry,
is
I'm
more
kind of switching to the show.
Sansa's going to be the next Cersei.
Yeah, that's me too. I do too.
I think
And I'm okay with it. I love Cersei, and I love Sansa.
I'm on Team Cersei.
They're gonna go at it. I can't wait for them to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I'm on her team, Geek Chat page or whatever, and I like Cersei. I think it's a great character, but she's not very good at making plans. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know.
Me and Bree were talking about what we think Cersei would be a good idea for Cersei to do. And we think it would be pretty cool for her to like go out on Euron's boat, and after they arrive, just like blow the whole place up with wildfire, and her be out there watching it.
That's what she's gonna do.
Cheers, bitches. I'm outie.
Burn.
Have wildfire.
Burn, that would be a burn.
And
I
when
know,
Daenerys
definitely.
goes to burn the Red Keep, Daenerys is gonna ignite the wildfire.
I have a feeling that's gonna happen.
Well, they're all in there though. Like all the rest of them are going up in there, and then she fucking sets it on fire, and then boom, and then all of King's Landing sets off. Boom, 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 like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
I feel like if anywhere she blows her fire in King's Landing, if she takes down any building, it's probably gonna set everything off.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna go boom.
I want it to so bad.
Wildfire,
I'm gonna be a little bit upset, honestly.
There's so much wildfire stashed under there. There's no way it can't.
It's just like a powder keg. It's got a light.
It has to come into play.
You think they're gonna head to Dragonstone first?
Oh yeah, we're going to Dragonstone. I think they'll go back there after being so cold. I would.
I think
Me too.
Kerris at least is going to go there. It's hard to tell like who's going to go with her when.
Right.
And then I think somehow, some way, Sansa's going to find herself in King's Landing.
Yeah.
In a very.
I think that'll be I think she'll be the last person that Cersei will see.
Yeah, there's be something with her and Cersei, so.
Yeah, I think
awesome.
she'll be there. I think she'll be there.
Yeah.
I don't think we're done with Ilaria either, or Dorne. I mean, and I know that's like, oh, let it go, Melissa, let it go. But here's the
What
thing.
if
The show did
What if
mention.
Bronn is the one that kills Cersei?
I'd love that. Okay, here's what I'm going to say about that really quick. Look at his age and look at the timing. And I've thought about this a lot. He really does fit in with the age of the son of
the
the
Reigns.
Reigns, of Lady Eleanor.
Oh, Ron?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really does.
I could believe he's a Rain. I could believe he's a Rain.
Yeah, or Lady Tarmac or whatever her name was. He could be that little boy, and he was like 5 at the time. So yeah, for the age of Tywin being 67 and everything.
Yeah.
Forget when he was 67, but I remember his age being 67 at some point.
Yeah. They should have just tried. I don't understand. So getting back to the books, I don't understand why they didn't just try to kill Tywin. Like, they really, I guess it would have been hard to do.
Tywin hangs out at the back of his army.
I know, but they could have found some way. I would have tried to do something. I mean, like, if Stannis was able to kill Renly, I mean, granted he had Melisandre, the Shadow Baby, but
well, I mean, they snuck around them before. Why couldn't they do it again?
Right. Like,
that would have made things a lot easier, but that's not the story. So
I know, right? I know that's not the story. Never mind.
I do want to, like, okay, are we still on the chapter now, or what are we?
Of course.
Okay. Because I was going to make fun of the Night King's stupid weapon that he had in the episode.
All right, let's save that for the end, and
Sure.
Out frustrations about the show, and we'll also read, I promise we will read every person's comment about how they felt about the show.
Maybe we could get some ratings out of 10.
Oh,
For the episode?
Yeah.
The chapter. They talk about the comet, and then right after they talk about her, the Blackfish and Catelyn talk about the comet. They talk about Beric Dondarrion, R.I.P. Beric. But I really like
Barricade. I see.
Yeah. I didn't really think he would die like that. But anyways.
Me either. But
it almost looked like a Christ figure thing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it was kind of weird. But
Bubba Husky says shit out of 10.
Oh, Bubba's here. Shit out of 10.
With Beric and the relationship to the comet, and then that made me think of, like, you know, his sort of, like, I don't know, like, there's something. I liked how it related and how his magical qualities, even though in the book at this point we don't know that he's actually, like, being brought back from the dead and all that. But I don't know. I thought that was cool.
No, but we do get, like, alluded to of the idea for the first time.
Right. Right.
They say he was already killed, but then they fell into his trap.
Right.
Well, I did, one thing I did like was the way that we finally know, like, and that's what I believe, even in life, like, everything that you do leads you to the point that you are supposed to ultimately be at. So whether or not you think something that you did was embarrassing or whatever, I mean, you live through it, you go on. I mean, you know, you dust yourself off and get back up and try again. And, you know, that's what life is, or you die.
Yeah.
Did you just say, or you die?
Or you die?
Mm-hmm. Unless you're dead.
True.
You keep on going unless you're dead.
Or you die.
It's like Beric.
Like Melisandre said, he has completed what did she say?
Whatever he was supposed to do.
Yeah. Basically, when Arya got so upset at his death, and then all of a sudden pops out Melisandre, and we don't know how the hell she got up in that room or whatever. But then she pops out and is like,
she's a goddess. She pops up. She can go wherever she wants to.
I have read her POV chapter so many times. Yeah, I've read that POV. I've read it so many times trying to figure her out, and I wish there was more than one, but
and I've only watched each of these episodes one time.
Really?
The older episodes, I feel like you could watch it a couple times and keep getting stuff out of it.
Yeah.
But these episodes, I feel like when you've seen it, you've seen it.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying, but still, I enjoy rewatching.
Maybe
I had to rewatch this one on a better screen because it was so dark. That's kind of why I wish they had, sorry to get back to the episode, had sent those fireballs, ballistas, whatever you want to call them, ahead of the Dothraki to light up what they were like charging into. And so we could kind of see it too, but all right, that's all.
Okay, what I didn't understand is because you seen on the opening credits all the damn fire pits, so why didn't they light the fire pits beforehand?
They didn't have Melisandre there to say her magical words.
Well, if they're gonna have the damn fire pits, they have them lit. I mean, it's winter. Why weren't they lit to begin with? I would have had them lit before I was out there.
I don't know why they waited.
Does anyone have any idea how Melisandre even showed up through all of the dead, though?
For having this great army and all these great commanders, not one damn one of them knew what the hell they were doing. Where the hell was Tywin Lannister?
Yes, Tywin would have not. And seriously,
for both his sons in there, that was just shame. I wish I had the damn bell. I was just so.
Well, I feel like would have just blown. Like she would have just had wildfire dropping on him, like seriously would have.
There would have been. That was just
wrong. Enough dragons.
George should have known better. Dragons should have known better. It was just wrong. It was wrong.
But you know what? I have a theory that it was. My whole theory is that it was Bran was using the army of the dead and the Night King to weaken Daenerys's army because eventually Dance of the Dragons 2.0, right? Or like because every time.
You want to know what I'm thinking about?
She was the one that broke the battle plan. Like she and Jon were supposed to stay there and wait. And then she takes off on Drogon and he's like, what are you doing? So he follows her.
Which I don't know why she follows her.
She got upset about the Dothraki dying and then so she goes to help them, but she was supposed to be waiting for the night,
for the Night King to get there, and then they were supposed to go to the Night King.
Right. Usually it's Jon.
The army was basically a distraction, and they were supposed to just focus on the Night King and drop the army.
Right. But that stick to plan. But also it wasn't clear enough that Daenerys was going off plan. Like you kind of figured it out, but it wasn't like I feel like in the moment it could have been hit a little harder. That's what she was doing. But also but I still agree with you the whole time. I was like, the strategies were bad. I was like, this is not how you would fight this army of the dead.
No. But see, here's the thing.
I would do like a guerrilla war. I would have like I booby trap that whole field with like wildfire, like
and dragon fire. You have dragons. Blow dragon fire on them pits. Why are you?
Well, they couldn't see.
Okay.
They were going to do the dragon fire on the pits, but then they couldn't see because they got caught in the snowstorm. So that's why they couldn't light the. Why didn't they light the pits first? Like, still didn't make sense to why like.
The only reason I could think of is because the Unsullied were outside of the trenches.
Yeah.
But that, I mean,
But it was also dumb for Daenerys to not fight for, like, she put her forces all in the center and all going first, which I guess, they were, like, the healthiest and best fighters, maybe. But, like, you've got the Knights of the Vale there. So why wouldn't you have interspersed your cavalry? Like, I don't know. The way she let her forces
I'm sorry, y'all. Google Play just charged me $5.99 automatically. It's got me discombobulated. I apologize.
That's a good question. Meyer 27 was like, asked why weren't Dany and Jon burning the dead with their dragons to start with? In the episode, like all the people that had been slain, go ahead and give them a nice funeral so they can't come back out,
I thought that too. Like, why wasn't there a strategy? As soon as someone died, you burn that body, like, right away. So it doesn't, I didn't understand that either. That would be my...
Bubba said he thinks Bran's going to retire to the Isle of Faces and sacrifice someone as the next Night King. That was my thing. People thinking it's going to be John and Danny, but would he not have to be sacrificed in the same kind of way to make another Night King like the first Night King was?
Yeah.
So
Do you think they're going to make another Night King?
I
What
don't
about a Night Queen?
know. But then my thing is, okay, at first I was like, yay, Arya, blah, blah, blah. But then I don't, my whole thing is the balance of ice and fire. And I know everybody has their opinions on it and whatever, but I just never thought he would just die like that.
I know.
Like, at first I was excited and then I started thinking, wait, what? That was just bad storytelling.
It was too easy. Yeah. Because there's all this supposed like backstory and prophecy and like.
Right. Where's the Zora? I mean, and we still don't know anything about who he was, the Night King was. What happened to the Vale Cavalry? Did they feed them to the dragon?
Yeah, I didn't see the veil or whatever.
Well, they were.
Okay, since we've gotten back to the episode, let me ask this question.
Right.
You guys think everybody is going to retreat to the same place? I don't think they are.
No.
You know, you guys were talking about Dragonstone or what have you. I don't think everybody's going to go to the same place.
Well, I'm wondering if, the North is going to need some more men, like where the Tullys or the Ironborn or like folks like them going to become part of the, the fight against the Golden Company or what?
Mandolin 523 says Arya's baby is next night's king. Mandy, are you being serious?
Who thinks Arya is going to get pregnant? I do.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I think
Arya's going to get pregnant. I
She's
don't
got
think
pregnant.
Danny's going to get pregnant. I think Arya is maybe.
But see,
She's not the bastard of Winterfell.
I wonder.
Okay,
I'm
Mandy
confused.
says she's 100% serious.
Yeah, no, I do too. I think it's the bastard of Winterfell.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing about Arya's baby though is I'm like, she got stabbed a lot in the stomach, like in Bravos.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but they're not going to take that into account that might have messed up her reproductive health. I don't think they will. Now, me and you both know that probably messed up her reproductive health.
I mean, I would think it would, but like, I don't really know where the
I think it
organs
might
are.
would. I knew a girl who shot herself in the stomach, and she lived, but that was one of the repercussions when they put her back together or whatnot. Some of the things they had to remove would have been necessary for pregnancy.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that.
Yeah, I always thought, I was like, oh, Arya can't, because like when they did the stabby in the stomach, I was like, oh, but maybe they didn't. I mean, it was probably written by men, so maybe they don't think about that. I don't know.
Think about the Craster kids though. They're like never born. Just it'd be like a white baby sort of thing going on though. If she
Okay,
had, like,
Mandy says, I'm being serious. Think of it. Gendry has Baratheon lines, and I baby will have Targaryen roots in the bloodline. All Baratheon roots stem from the Blackwood roots. Okay, thank you, Mandy. Reed, you want to add anything to that? You're the Blackwood.
How did the Blackwoods and Baratheons? Yeah, I'm not sure about that lineage.
I don't know how they.
Stacey, nothing that we know of yet, babe. Stacey, Meyer27 is asking, do we think Daenerys is pregnant? Who thinks Daenerys is pregnant?
No.
I think
we would know by now. We would know. I feel like
right. I used to think that, but now I think that was like a red herring, making us think she was going to have a baby, and I was going to be the one to have a baby.
I don't think Cersei's pregnant either. Unless Euron gets her pregnant.
Well, I feel like I saw some pictures from the pictures of Cersei from this, like they released the stills, and I think she does look a little.
But I mean, think about it. Euron's gone all the way to Essos and back, so that's taken what 4 or 5
I know
months,
she
probably.
totally
So
was, like pregnant.
I don't think Cersei's really pregnant. I don't know. I don't think Cersei's really pregnant either.
I thought she
because-
was. I thought that was real.
Me too. But
Kerri,
I
I
feel
thought it
like
was, but I
Jamie
thought
reiterated it.
now, so I don't really think so. Because here's the thing. Okay, this is what throws me. You would have thought she would have shown it by now because he already sailed the SS and back. And
Yeah.
okay, Rory made that little comment about putting the prince in her belly and knowing a woman's body and all that. Okay, so he would know if she was pregnant. So,
Yeah.
but she ain't acting like she's pregnant at all. So maybe he's gonna do it now, and he's gonna get pregnant now because I keep thinking about the whole dragon cracking thing. You know.
Dragon.
Yeah. It's
Cracking.
another problem.
It's fun to say.
Dragon cracking.
It's fun to say.
He's going to
that?
switch sides to Daenerys. He wants a dragon.
All right, Mrs.
Yeah,
Dia's gonna have a baby.
Here's the thing.
I
I think it's going to be revealed really soon that Tywin couldn't have kids, or
Uh-oh.
Oh, they're all Targaryens?
They're
that
all
he's a eunuch,
Targaryen.
and that's why he was so good at what he did. Something like that, and that all his kids were really Aries bastards. Began Tywin's wife. I don't know. It just sounded crazy like that. I got a feeling it's going to happen.
I mean, it
But
could
because
happen.
look at them, come on, they're definitely like Aries kids. It's just got to be confirmed, right?
I just don't think the show's gonna confirm.
Definitely, look
much
at
of-
her. Look at her. She was like totally a crazy.
I would be okay with Jaime
dragon.
and Cersei being Aries
Okay.
kids. I just don't. I don't want. I feel like Tyrion is Tywin.
No, okay. Now they might show Tyrion Tywin's but book Tyrion is a dragon. You can tell it because he dreams about dragons and just the other little things. There's too many little clues for him being a dragon too.
Right, but there's clues for the other two as well, and that's what.
Right.
It's
That's
just
what.
really you could go either way with it.
And seriously, I'm telling you, it's just think about Tywin and how good he is at his job, and the only ones that are that good at their jobs are the eunuchs. I think it would be really funny. I think it would be funny. I think it'd be really funny if.
Do you think it'd be?
I think it'd be kind
He's
of
at,
poetic
like,
justice, honestly.
To get it up? Is that his problem? Like, how would What would Tywin's? I mean, how would his? I'm curious as
He
to how it
loved
would
his
manifest.
cousin. He loved his cousin, who was a paramour of the king, who had
Mhm.
Yeah.
two children by the king. So he marries her to further the Lannister line,
Right. Because she was a Lannister.
who had the king's children's. So, I mean, I can see why that would be. I mean, I can see the total motivation behind it and everything.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're thinking about it now. I see.
I'm thinking about it.
But okay, even on the show, I can see it. Okay, now I want to bring up something else with the show too.
Okay.
With the 4 dragons on the astrolabe, I don't think it's about the birth of dragons. I think it's about the big dragon being whoever's on the throne, and then the other 3 being like princes or princesses. So I think it's probably going to be about
Yeah.
Targaryens. So I think it's probably like Jon being the king because he's the main Targaryen, like Aegon Targaryen. And then there's going to be 3 other Targaryens. So that would be Dany and then 2 other Targaryens. And that would be like Cersei, Jaime.
You're right. That's what I was about
Bree,
to
are
say.
you beside a train?
Yeah. Did you hear it this time?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
heard it going,
All right.
"Choo-choo."
Oh, gosh. I'm not, that's right there. It's like there's a really old creepy jail and a train track right next to me. Sort of.
Oh, hold on just a second, y'all. Somebody's knocking on my door outside.
Oh,
It's New Orleans.
Oh, you did?
Oh, Mandy's showing, giving the, okay.
Thank
King
you, Bo. I
Jaehaerys.
don't know how he got out. Come on, Wiki. Come on.
Second born to Aegon V and Betha Blackwood.
yeah.
King
Oh,
Jaehaerys.
yeah.
So that's where the
That's Targaryen.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
He said-
no, this is what it
then
is.
she said
And
if you
right
go
now-
far enough back, you can connect
Yeah,
the
she's right.
Blackwood
She's
to Baratheon.
Because I was just
Yeah.
talking, I was just looking into this because I was looking into the Jenny of Oldstone songs. and Rael. So when Prince Duncan, didn't want to marry, he was supposed to marry a Baratheon girl. And when he married Jenny Goldstones instead, the deal, like the Baratheon lord at the time, I forget his name, was really pissed off.
Lionel,
Yeah.
he was laughing.
Started like a little.
He wasn't laughing. It wasn't
and
funny.
then they married Rael. So Duncan's younger sister, the younger daughter of Aegon and Betha, to the Baratheon, his son, the heir to Storm's End. Anyways, so that's how Robert and has Targaryen in them, is through that line of Aegon 5 and Betha Blackwood. So yeah, I forgot about. I was like, wait, how did it get in there? And it gets in through the Targaryens, the Blackwood. So yeah.
Okay.
So instead of becoming a queen, he got a princess.
Yeah, I believe her. I just was curious as to.
I forgot how it. Yeah, I was like, but it comes in that way because you forget about a Blackwood and a Targaryen. You know, like, but like it's interesting how that comes up because the show just had the Jenny of Oldstone song, and that song is so fascinating. Like when you really look into all of the story around it and how it relates to everything happening in the current, you know, with like the current timeline and John and all of it.
Yeah.
One big messed up family.
That fucking family.
Right.
They are though, and if I'm telling y'all start paying attention to the history and lore videos because
those are really good.
Well, it's go look at the religion ones because it's the 7 and then it talks about when Aegon comes over and he conquers that it says that the 7 will rise again, and then it says that whenever Aegon came over, that it's described, the rulers are described as like squabbling brothers and sisters. So he unites them and the kingdoms.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, you know
if you think about the bloodlines, they're all intermingled and stuff. Like for real. I mean.
Oh yeah, they're so yeah. But what's interesting, you bring up religion in the show, and also in this chapter of the book, we're talking about Beric Dondarrion for the first time, and like I feel like both Melisandre. So also in this war, with the Night King, we've lost Thoros of Myr last season fighting rights. Then we lose Beric, and then we lose Melisandre. So all the Red Priests, all the like they're done, you know.
Not necessarily.
There's got to be more shit.
I mean, there's more of them, but out there, and they could come back.
I don't know.
Like,
okay, here's the thing.
They're not going to be in our story from here on out. For sure.
No, okay, not necessarily because we still have dragons. We still have fire. There's still.
Cersei's going to take care of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think. That's what I mean. I wonder if there's this, like they're trying, this is where I think something's up with Bran. Like I think he's trying to get rid of the fire, like maybe.
Either they both remain fire and ice, or they both, get obliviated.
Like maybe he's trying to have them fight each other, like against each other.
See, don't forget about that wall that we've seen Chew made of dragon glass Riverlands. I still got to pay off. So did Mira and Hal and Reed because Mira said she was going to go be with her father to get ready for the war. They damn sure went at Winterfell.
I would love to see that. I would love
to see the Crowning Man come out and start fighting with the North against Cersei.
I would love to see them at all. Okay.
We're not gonna get. I feel like we're not gonna get that, but yes, that would be.
No, we won't. I know.
We have to. No, we have to. That's the one thing we have to see is something.
Well, maybe in the book.
Okay,
maybe in the book.
Around it too much. We have to. We have to. They have to. They have.
I would love to.
I don't. We have to.
Okay, let me go to the chat real quick.
Put your Joe out there.
Mandy, no, Stacy asked, "Is Danny pregnant?" Not that we know of. Nobody said, and that's what we were saying early. We think they would have said by now, and I believe Nick's coming in there. No, and then Stacy says miscarried. If so, hadn't said, or maybe you mean Cersei again. If so, it hasn't said. I thought that Cersei really was pregnant and still pregnant. Jamie reiterated it to Tyrion. Ree and a few other people on the panel you've heard say they don't believe she's pregnant. A few of us do. Then Mandy says, King Jaehaerys II was the second born of Aegon V and Bethel Blackwood. He was the one who was told by the Woods Witch that they would produce the line. If you go far enough back, you can connect the Blackwood to the Baratheon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit! What if Bran makes Drogon the new Night King?
Yes. Oh my God, that's great.
I think you think Drogon.
Okay,
will
Stacy
sit on
says
the Iron
Tyrion is
Throne.
Talbot's son, in her opinion. Mandy says that is technically is still the line versus an actual Targaryen. So she's saying that this particular Blackwood Baratheon / Targaryen, I think, is special.
Ooh, Bran could make Euron the next Night King.
Also,
Bran-
all the rest
that's
of the
Bran-
shit
Raw.
in a roundabout
Oh.
way, all the prince that was promised theories are matching to me. Okay, and then
Well-
you guys said something, and Mandy agreed and said, yeah, that's exactly what she's talking about. I think something you said, Ree. I swear up and down we're getting Cersei die at the next location versus her actual neck.
That's interesting.
That's
That
what I
is.
thought.
I've
That
never
was a
heard
good
that.
one.
That's a
I,
good
I
point.
still believe it's all going to end at the God's Eye if it's in
I'm-
the books.
Is it on
You
the
know.
show?
I know.
I
Well,
don't
we had a
know.
teaser trailer that hasn't
Bubba
paid off
Hudson
yet.
says, holy
With the
shit, what if
fall.
Bran makes Drogon the next Night's King? Bubba.
I like that. I like that, actually.
That's why I said something about
Actually,
Euron.
You said
Yeah.
Euron. I like Euron. That could actually.
Because of his, I mean, the pre-release chapter of him being some sort of god with all of and his
Well-
queen that looks like
Okay.
like kind of like a
There's
night queen.
There's a theory that Euron trained with the three-eyed raven, with Blood Raven.
Oh,
So there's this kind of theory out there that basically Bran wasn't the first kid that the three-eyed crow, the three-eyed raven tried to make into a new version of him.
He definitely tested
And
Euron.
he tried with Euron.
Think
And
about,
Euron
think
did.
about
Because
Euron,
Well,
Bran, and
Shows
okay,
the
stop,
God's
stop.
Eye in the
Think
opening
about,
credits.
What do they call
added that.
Euron?
Now, we
Think
all know
about-
anything in those opening credits is important. Ree, what did you say?
that's
think about
cool,
Euron
man.
being the Bloodstone Emperor and Tyrion being the Lion of Night, and we're about to watch, and Danny being the Amethyst Empress, and we're about to watch the Long Night happening for the first time. Just, it's about to happen. We've already heard all these stories. He likes to retell the stories within his stories. We're watching it all. Just, it's happening again. Like I was talking about the astrolabe to you guys before. At the beginning of season 8, we saw new things on the astrolabe because the astrolabe is turning. It's constantly changing. We're seeing like House Tolan, the dragon eating its own tail. You know, the wheel is turning. The astrolabe's turning, and we're seeing history changing. The Night King died. Melisandre died. Now they need someone to replace him. So that's what's going to happen now. And so we need someone to step up. So think about who's going to replace them. Well, who's going to bring in the Long Night now? We need something to happen to bring in the Long Night. So what's going to trigger it? And then who's going to take the places of those who have stepped down?
Right.
That's what we need to happen in the last 3 episodes.
Melisandre.
What is
Danny is
Euron's
Melisandre,
brother's
and I would think probably like Euron or John or something.
What do you
I don't
think
know. I'm
about
all
that,
screwed up
Mandy?
now. Oh my
What do you
God.
think about what Ree said? You two need to get together.
I think. Oh, I was gonna say I've heard theories about the time in Westeros similar to that. Like there's a good article I read about. I have to see if I can find it about how the spiral nature of time. So it keeps turning. You don't exactly repeat things in the exact same way. So you
Right, they
move
never do. But that is life. That's what happens. Look through your history books. It does happen every day. I mean, you can read it.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going on. So yeah, we'll get the same thing, but not exactly so you'll
Right.
get
Somebody,
I
Brian
understand what
said
you're saying.
history doesn't.
The Baron made it.
It might be kept,
Sexy.
but history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme.
Nancy says the
Yeah,
crow's
that's
eye.
what-
That's what they call Euron. So
Yeah.
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 he
That's
definitely
good. Oh,
reached out
yeah,
to Euron
Nancy.
Yeah, good
first.
point.
Yeah.
Point.
Good point.
Oh, you're hot tonight, lady. You guys, I was trying to Brand send a little note and I accidentally hit him, and now the camera's staying on him. Does anybody know
No.
where it does when just everybody's talking?
I'm trying to mess with
Okay, I
myself.
think I got it back.
I
Okay.
see it changing when, like,
Right, I got it back. Yeah. Okay.
like
Yeah.
there's
More
Liz,
than I
there's
thought.
you.
Oh my God! How long was it on me?
I was doing it by hand, but I couldn't keep on with the, I mean, after a while, it's either got.
Oh my God! Well, I'm glad I didn't know.
After a while, something's got to
Yeah.
happen. Or I'm done, man.
Mandy was saying they changed it. Now the God's Eyes in the opening credit.
Yeah.
What?
They added it. Yeah, in the chat.
At that very beginning of what?
It's in the
What?
chat. Mandy,
No, I haven't read it out.
I did not see it. When was this in the opening credit though? Like recently?
It's been in opening credits before a long time ago, though. It depends
well,
on.
she said, let's see, the show.
Is it?
We
they
have
show the
seen it
God's
before
Eye in the
once.
opening
You can see
credit.
next to King's Landing.
Then she said they added it.
It's not labeled.
How do people feel about the new?
That's our homework. Aside from next week's chapter, when we get done here, everybody jump on and watch that new opening credit and see if you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can
Sure,
see
I
what-
have.
It's there next to King.
I don't remember it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember it on the new one. And don't forget about that teaser trailer that we had at the very beginning. It was like the first one with the new wall that was made of dragon glass.
And it was different.
Yeah, it was the new one. Remember, there was a new wall that went up that was made of dragon glass.
I do.
That was like the first tour. Yeah.
All right.
It's like
I
we've
think
got
we've
that.
kind of covered everything, and I don't want us to get monotonous and boring, though. I have had some people accuse the channel of being boring. And that's fine.
Well, they don't
Everybody
have to
can have their
watch
own opinion.
You know what?
Yeah, they don't have to watch it if they're bored.
Please do, Liz. That'd be great.
Go Liz.
All right, go Liz. Go Lizzie. Liz is going to do shout outs tonight. Wait, before that, Mandy's got one last comment. And anybody else in the chat?
I believe
real
you,
important
Mandy.
for us always to get anything in the chat. If you want to say something, as a statement you need to make about the show, or anything you want to say, please put it in now and I will read it out. Mandy says 100% it is. It couldn't be anything else, and it looks closer than you would think it would be. But when you scale everything to size, it is 100% the God's eye. Okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Nancy T says, Ree, you're right.
Oh.
Nancy T says, it is. This past week's opening credits, there was a wall. She's talking about the dragon glass wall. Okay. It was fun being a dude tonight. Well, dude looks like a lady. All right, Ree. Okay, and with that, we got Liz, our Midwestern girl who's living in Canada, doing what she can to write fanfic and blog. Liz Galo, take it away with the shout out, please.
I'm so behind in all my writing, but I will do the shout outs. I'm not behind in doing that. We have Nancy T, Milt, Peter Griffin, The Imagination Realm, Icy Spots, Amanda Duncan, Meyer 27, Mandolin 523, and Bubba Husky. Is that everyone?
Meyer, did you say Meyer 27?
Yep, Meyer
Okay.
27.
We know her. She's a friend of the channel.
I see spots.
Yep, got that.
Thank you for coming by tonight. I see spots. I really appreciate that.
I
Yeah.
got it covered, Kerri.
and Kerri.
I was like looking at something else, so I'm sorry if I didn't hear everything you said, Liz. Can I say real quick, Jennifer? I
Nancy, what's
put
up?
a link in there for
I
Naomi's
appreciate that.
GoFundMe.
Well, I don't know if you've watched, because a lot of people just watch rewatches, and that's fine. But I don't know if we've got some new people on the panel who are really, who are really good and who are really nice and really take their history and lore serious and who really take their science fiction serious. And I think we've got a good panel, though. I do.
Yeah.
What is it, Nancy T? What's wrong? Oh, the hell you say? This book club is a lot of things, but it is never boring.
I want to know what those things are. I wonder now.
I know, right?
Okay, everybody. And next week, we have Tyrion 1, Chapter 8. No, Tyrion 2. Oh, gosh, I was wrong.
Jen, can I say something about the link?
Overview? Yes, Kerri, you can say whatever you would like.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say Jen put a link in her overview. Ree helped set it up, or she did set it up. It's for Naomi. She needs a new oboe. They're like $3,500. There's a description in there about Naomi. Great kid.
Naomi is Kerri's daughter, you guys.
Yeah, sorry,
Yes,
she's my
Their
daughter.
oboe college.
She plays oboe, and she's section leader of the drum line in her high school band. She is in the youth symphony orchestra. She's very talented. She's not just bullshitting. She's been playing a long time. She needs a new oboe. She's embarrassed of the one she has. And I think we've all been there a time or two in our life, whether it was tennis shoes we had to wear that we were embarrassed of, the buddies, or something else. So, whatever you can spare, anything else.
Yeah, just a couple bucks.
It's the very last link in the description. It's a GoFundMe for Naomi to get a new oboe. Please help.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Innovate.
Help students make music.
Who's going to do the overview next week?
I guess that's me. No one else answers.
I haven't heard Brand do one in a while.
Do it, babe.
I just want to say, you guys, before we go off, I've been on book club for like probably 8 months now, and I'm getting ready to move somewhere, and I'm not going to have internet for an unknown amount of time. So I'll probably be here for 1 or 2, maybe 3 more meetups.
Then he'll be in McDonald's, like doing book club.
Yeah,
just bring your Lannister banner and hang it up, like in whatever restaurant you gotta find with free Wi-Fi.
Put it on the back of your car.
Sit there and and do the show.
But it's been great, and I hope to come back one day.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week, 8-ish. Like I said, Tyrion 2, Chapter 8, Clash of Kings.
All right. Bye-bye.